Even though I have an entire collection of fragrances that I could pick from every single day, there are some times where I wish I could just pick a fragrance and just wear it every single day. These are 10 that you can do exactly that with. Signature scent worthy and all of that good stuff. Starting things off with something that I think personally is really underrated. It's Allure Homme Sport Cologne. This is a very fresh, fruity, or citrus forward, I should say, not fruity, citrus and musky scent profile with a little bit of green touch to help it project and last a little bit longer. Very fresh, thirst quenching, kind of smelling like fruit infused water during the summertime. Except you can wear this every single day, all the way up into the wintertime if you really wanted to. Obviously, what's going to change is going to be the amount of sprays and how long it lasts, depending on the seasons, of course, but nothing a little bit extra sprays can't fix. This one will do the absolute best during the summer and the springtime, but for the most part, you can rock this all freaking year around. Reminds me of a similar vein of like Dior Cologne, not necessarily Pacific Chill, but those types of musky, airy, and fresh scent profiles. The actual note breakdown of this one is pretty complex, so it'll give you a little bit more of a longevity, at least in my experience, than like Dior Cologne. But for the most part, it's gonna dry down into this musky, citrus-forward fragrance that lasts almost the entire day. I would say about 8 hours, and when I'm spraying this on during the summertime, I'm giving it at least an 8 to 12 shot of this stuff. And during the wintertime, I would probably do around the same amount of sprays, maybe up to 15. But it still works, it smells fantastic. The next one you could wear every single day is Acqua di Gio Parfum. And this was right after the Profumo discontinuation, and it probably is because of some kind of like regulated ingredient, but fortunately I still have my bottle of Profumo, and I'll tell you guys right now that there is a difference, but they're pretty damn close and they're still pretty good. This one smells like that same Acqua di Gio, the aquatic woodsy vibe, except it really does a little bit more towards the whole woodsy vibe, giving you this patchouli-like accord that was a lot more emphasized in the discontinued version and toned down in this one, making it more of an incensey take than it is patchouli. But what that does is it gives it a definitive, more masculine and even an exotic touch to the whole scent profile, and then leading into something that's also more versatile. You can wear this in any season, including the winter, and I would spray this on personally upwards of like 5 to 14 times depending on the season, upwards of 14 during the cooler weather. With that being said, this does have to be still consistently one of the best Acqua di Gios to date. It really does emphasize a little bit more so on those resins, this balsamic and piney nature that's giving it that foresty and more masculine touch to it. So if you want the best Acqua di Gio, it's hands down goes to Parfum. The other ones are still pretty good, it just really depends on what you're looking for in a fragrance. And if you want the one that's the most masculine, it's this one, the Parfum. The next one is a little bit pricey, but it's absolutely worth being on this list. Imagination by Louis Vuitton. This is a very watery, fresh, a little bit soapy undertone with the note of tea. That really protrudes to this one, cuts through any weather, and gets compliments like crazy. Women love this scent. It's actually crazy. When I initially got this, I wasn't that much of a fan, but as I started to travel a little bit more so and get into exotic hotel restrooms, I noticed that their soap smelled a lot like this, and it started to develop this nostalgia factor. That, coupled with getting a lot of compliments, because who the hell doesn't like getting compliments? And if you say no, then you're definitely lying, because your day would be elevated in, hey, you smell really good. How do you feel now? Anyways, well, I don't care, bro. I know I smell good. Okay, cool. Anyways, with that being said, I don't wear them, obviously, because of the compliments, but it does play a role in the overall experience. This will get you that. It'll also give you the longevity of the entire day and even to the next day on clothing. It is a premium that you're paying, but honest to God, man, I think that this is one of the ones that are worth it. Definitely sample, get your nose on it first before you commit to spending that kind of money. During the winter, during the fall time, I'd spray this upwards of like 8 times. I probably wouldn't go any more than 8 times in any season because it has no problem with its performance and its projection. And lastly is its unique factor. Despite the fact that it seems relatively simple, it's relatively unique. On to the next one is 1 Million Parfum. Also underrated, but since the whole florals are coming back into masculine fragrances, I think a lot of people are gonna start to appreciate or will want to revisit this one. It's a little bit more of a fresher take. It has solar notes. It's got some florals to it. It does seem like the summer version of 1 Million. Definitely compliment worthy. It does have a soft feminine touch to it that women seem to love in unisex fragrances. Women can also, I think they could potentially rock this, but gentlemen, check out Parfum, especially if you enjoy fragrances like myself, etc. That's not what this reminds me of, but it absolutely treads in that category of like floral, a little bit sweet, fresh, etc. This will also last you pretty much the entire day, and I would still wear it during the winter and the fall. It might not work psychologically because you'll think like fresh and floral during the winter, but it still is signature scent worthy, and if you can get past that, then you can wear this every single day. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, you might stand out even more so when you wear a different scent. It's just with the performance, like I said. With that in mind, the sprays for this one during the summertime, I'd go anywhere from 6 to 8 during the summer, maybe even up to 12. And during the winter time, I'd up it up to that 12 to 14 sprays max. Next one is Polo Bleu Parfum. Blue, woodsy, aromatic, a masculine take on freshies. That's pretty much it. What you get a lot with this one, aside from the citruses, is more so the aromatics, like the lavender, the tea, and all of those vibes really give you this tea vibe. It's not necessarily as like a black tea per se. The sage and the lavender is a lot more reserved, all synchronous with some woods, and it dries down into something that's relatively ambery, coming from some olibanum. It's a very masculine scent profile that's very, I don't want to say generic, but it's generic in every good way. There is a citrus touch at the top coming from mandarin and potentially some other generic citrus. So although I did mention citrus, it's definitely more towards the fresh blue and aromatic side of things rather than just citrus bombs. So the only note that they mention of citrus is going to be mandarin, and it is also coupled with cardamom. It's not a spicy fragrance per se, despite the fact that there's pink pepper and cardamom at the top, but rather it just emphasizes a little bit more so on this brittle woodsiness. I think it's a great scent profile. I don't think it's going to be the best for like teenagers, etc. But for those of you who are going to the office, a bit more masculine and grown, Polo Blue is definitely a really good one. I put this in the same vein and likings of Acqua di Gio Profondo, except I feel like Acqua di Gio Profondo has a little bit more of an energetic and vibrancy to it, where this is more depth, full-bodied, and kind of a bit more masculine in that sense, or just more grown, not more masculine, because they're both pretty masculine. Now, in terms of the performance, this one does linger on the entire day, especially on clothing, as you should be spraying it on both skin and clothing. And that's why my numbers of sprays are so high, because a lot of people will just spray it on skin, call it a day. You're never gonna get the maximum longevity out of that. So with that being said, I'd spray this anywhere from 6 to 12 times during the summer and the springtime. And during the winter time and fall time, I would spray this anywhere from 6 to up to 15 sprays. And 15 is like maximum with this because it is relatively aromatic. For the most part, to get to 6 is very easy for me. I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6 if I really wanted to stop there. Otherwise, I'd go under the shirt to hit the other arm, and there's plenty of other spaces you can do, except for one area where you shouldn't because it burns.
Thank you, Shaq.
Moving on to the next one is YSL L'Homme Le Parfum. Le Parfum is underrated, but it is a pretty good successor to the original. The reason why I'm not mentioning the original, although it's a great daily fragrance, it doesn't last for shit. Like, it just doesn't last. It gives me maybe 3 hours, and I wish it would last longer. Except with the Le Parfum, it does introduce a bit more aromatics, a bit more woods, giving it more body for it to actually last, project, while still giving you that original scent profile. So I have to emphasize, I'm still getting the YSL L'Homme in this, but that addition of basil, and I believe it might be violet leaf and some of those amber woods, makes this a much longer lasting fragrance and projecting. Hear me out. If you like the original, this is a longer lasting version of that. I mean, it's a flanker of that fragrance, but this is probably one of the most true ones. And I've got the Eau de Parfum, I've got the other ones, and those are truly still good flankers. But out of all of them, I do think that the Le Parfum has to be one of the most underrated ones. Summertime, wintertime, fall time, it's perfect for all seasons because of the fact that it has a bit more of a full body, but it's not dense enough to not make it appropriate for the summertime. If I were to rock this during the summertime, I'd spray it upwards of anywhere from 6 to, I would say, 10 times. And during the fall and the winter time, I'd spray it up to 12 times. It's pretty strong. You guys will be surprised with this little banger right here. It's definitely a good one. Moving on to the next one is PDM Sedley. Very juicy and addicting opening. You get mint, a lot of citruses, lemon, bergamot, mandarin, but then it's also coupled with a pretty decent dose of some aromatics, something that's also relatively minty but more herbal, like rosemary. There's also the note of geranium that PDM uses very nicely, and a dry down of some powdery woods. My only gripe about this one is that it did not last for shit when I first got it for like the first 3-4 months. Over some time, I've learned how to wear it per se and how to spray it, and also it did get stronger, as with many fragrances that age. A scent profile that I think is very mass appealing, but a little bit more than just mass appealing. I feel leaving it at mass appealing gives us this certain sense of simplicity that, oh, I could just buy Bleu de Chanel instead. No, there are unique factors and aspects to this one that they use, and it's a bit more intense in some of those accords that I mentioned, like the rosemary and geranium, that you won't get in a lot of designers. With designers, they give you something that's pretty mellow, not really that punchy and testy, but when a designer does get punchy and testy, then it's show-stopping. Basically, this is a pretty punchy citrus and aromatic fragrance that is very vibrant and very uplifting of a scent profile. Total longevity for me, for this one at least, I don't really get more than about 6 to 7 hours, but with that being said, it's a fantastic 6 to 7 hours for sure. During the summertime, I'd spray this one at least 6 to up to 14 times, and that's really all year round. If I go any less than 6, I don't get much longevity out of this one, and it's kind of understandable because of the note breakdown of this one as well. A lot more fresh aspects to it, citruses, etc. The dry down of this one is woodsy, but it's pretty diffusive and light, cashmere and some ambroxan, etc. It's really addicting, and it's actually a really good scent profile. Moving on to the next one is Bleu de Chanel. This has to be one of the best men's fragrances of all time. It's the blue of all blues. If you want the best blue fragrance on the market, it goes to Eau de de Parfum. There is a concoction of notes, including incense, grapefruit, I mean, you guys, nutmeg, spices. There's a lot to this one, and it's probably one of the most like complimented for women as well. In fact, the first time I got a Bleu de Chanel fragrance, it was gifted to me by a woman because she wanted me to smell like this. So take that for whatever it's worth. It is a little bit of a pricey premium you're getting, but you're getting quality. You're absolutely getting quality. Out of all of the flankers, I enjoy the Eau de Parfum the most. It works in the office, it works at the gym, just like all of these scent profiles, you guys. This is fragrance you can wear every day for a reason. They will work literally everywhere. I would wear any one of these, and I have actually worn any one of these to the gym, to offices, to the hospital, etc. And obviously those spray amounts are with those outside factors not considered. If I'm working at the hospital, I probably won't spray more than like 2 to 3 times maximum, depending on the scent profiles, of course. Imagination is relatively a softer scent profile, but very strong, no more than 2 sprays for something like that, etc. With that being said, Eau de Parfum has to be the most balanced, the longest lasting, and just an overall better scent profile for me personally. For everything in my life, I like a balance, and this one is exactly that. It gives you projection, it gives you performance, it gives you scent profile, and everything and some. So with that being said, I wouldn't spray this on more than about 11 to 12 times maximum. If you do spray it on more, it can start to compromise the scent profile and give it more of like this musky, undesired effect, at least in my experience. And I would keep it to those sprays in any season. Next one, JPG Scandal. You can wear this every day. It's sweet, it's musky, it's woody, and it's got that very signature tonka bean aromatic musk style dry down. That tonka bean in itself, at least for JPG specifically, it has this very dry and woodsy texture to it with that sweetness. And whenever you smell JPG fragrances, you can almost immediately sense it. So that's kind of like their proprietary blend, like with many other houses that use a concoction. So for example, if I wanted to achieve a tonka bean accord, I would define my tonka bean accord. I might mix like some, I'm gonna go crazy here and just say like lemon and like lavender and just combine them together. For me personally, it recreates, or it would recreate the tonka bean. And that combination is my tonka bean. So from now on, whenever I create a fragrance, it's that combination you're gonna smell as tonka. Similar to that, obviously not using lemon or lavender, because that would not smell anything like tonka bean. Similarly, in theory, this is a similar design that they use to kind of create their own accords. So with that being said, this one is a mandarin, caramel, tonka bean, and woodsy, musky dry down. It absolutely can be worn every single day. Flirty, modern, masculine still, and musky scent profile that you can absolutely get away with every day. I could see somebody who's in their teenage years, in their 20s, even going to college wearing this every single day, and it is absolutely compliment worthy. It'll work all year round, but you do want to be careful of how much you spray this one, because of the fact that if you wear it in too high of a humidity, that musk tonka bean situation can get a little out of hand. So with that being said, during the summertime, I would not spray this more than about 6 to 7 times, and during the wintertime, go happy up to 10 times. But still, it's a relatively lower spraying amount because of the fact that musk and tonka bean, given any humidity around you, might definitely compromise your experience, at least in my experience. You guys, when I wear these scent profiles, I'm literally taking notes of almost everything. And that is definitely something that I've seen with this scent profile. Lastly, this scent profile of flirty, sweet, modern, but still attention-grabbing reminds me of the same experiences that I personally have when I wear fragrances like Stronger With You, the original. I'm not saying that this smells anything like it, but overall experience, I definitely am placed in that vein of fragrances. You know, overdose of sweetness, some citruses, and a masculine woodsy dry down is basically what I get with both of them. Both unique in their own rights, but still giving me a similar experience. Last but not least is probably the most versatile JPG fragrance I have in my collection right now. It's Le Beau Paradise Garden. You can wear this every single day. It's very uplifting. It's got citruses, some aromatics, a coconut tropical accord, and it's just it brightens my day, honestly, whenever I wear it. Very similar to this thirst-quenching scent profile like Allure Homme Sport Cologne. This one has a bit more of a designer aspect. It's a little bit more youthful, some of that sweetness, etc., that you can carry on even into a date, to the office, everywhere, man. If I were to pick between sweet, fresh, woody, or something like sweet, musky, and woody, I would almost always go for the more uplifting one, because ultimately, if it uplifts your vibe and your aura, that's what people are gonna get from you, and that's gonna lead into compliments and a better scent experience overall. With that being said, it still has that signature JPG tonka bean, except it's surrounded with a juicy, watery fig. I believe there's coconut, there's a water accord, there's mint, so they really do a good job at freshening and livening this one up. I personally love this one, and it'll always be in my collection. I'm craving wearing it today now. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Fragrances you can wear every day. My name's Neeb. Thank you for tuning back in AROMATIX. Let me know down in the comment section which one of these you have signature scented, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.